Tonight, how the cost of living crisis impacts Scotland's kids. More than a quarter of parents struggled to feed their children in the past year, according to Barnardo's, as people cut back on essentials.
The food is the hardest bill at the moment, and it has been for a long time. It's silly things like even buying your child a Freddo.
Also making the headlines, hanging in the balance. Scotland's sports minister says there's still no deal to see Glasgow host the Commonwealth Games in 2026 amid a funding row with the UK government.
Could sober social events with alcohol off limits help change Scotland's troubled relationship with drink?
And Scotland's answer to the Cresta Run. An alpine coaster is opening, ready to hurtle you through the Midlothian Hills. I'm Kellyanne Woodland in Edinburgh.
And I'm John Mackay in Glasgow. This is the STV News at 6.
Good evening. More than a quarter of parents have struggled to feed their children in Scotland in the past year. That's the warning from the charity Barnardo's.
It has highlighted too many children are missing out on a good childhood amid the cost of living crisis. Research has shown more than half of parents say they've had to reduce spending on food to save money. Caitlin Hutchison has more.
As a single mother to 4 young boys, Kaylee says life on the breadline is an everyday struggle. She's doing everything she can to try and lift herself and her family out of poverty, but says she feels trapped trying to cover the cost of living.
The food is the hardest bill at the moment, and it has been for a long time. I look for the biggest pack value, so I'll get packs of fish fingers for £15, averaging at £2.35 a pack. I'll buy a pack of chips to match that for £1. I'll get a pack of 2 pizzas for £1.25.
But she's worried about her children's health and the negligible nutritional value of these affordable meals, and has found herself teetering on the brink of malnutrition.
I didn't notice the weight dropping off me, but when I actually thought about it and kind of looked at myself and looked at previous pictures, I'd realised the reason this had happened and I'd lost so much weight was how long I had been not putting food or myself first, like the children came first.
Research for Barnardo's found that 27% of parents have struggled to feed their children in the past 12 months, up 8% from last year. More than half said they had to cut their food spending, with 7% using food banks as a direct result of cost of living challenges. And their challenges affecting people up and down the country.
The fruit and veg is extortionate now. Everything's extortionate.
Just been going up and up and up. I'll not be paying more and more and more. I'll just have to stop eating.
Rich people, maybe they don't have any complaint, but people like me, we need help for the government.
The First Minister has said tackling child poverty is first and foremost in his priorities. But charity bosses say words must be turned into action.
We need universal measures like free school meals for primary 6 and 7 children. We also need the Scottish Child Payment to be raised. So there's a lot that could be done at Holyrood, but also at Westminster. We know one of the things that would make an immediate impact on child poverty would be to lift the 2-child benefit cap.
With 4 children, Kaylee finds the 2-child cap extremely unmanageable and says it's crippling her finances even further.
There has been very dark times where you don't know how you're going to get yourself out of this problem, and I think it's just hope inside. Like, you just keep going and things will get better.
Caitlin Hutchison, STV News.
Well, meanwhile, the Scottish Government's plans to pull back from free school meals for all children in primary 6 and 7 has been defeated in a parliamentary vote. In the last hour, the Scottish Government's amendment fell by 64 votes to 62. Our political editor, Colin Mackay, has been watching the debate. And Colin, this is awkward for the Scottish Government.
Education Secretary Jenny Gilruth admitted in the debate that this was challenging for the Scottish Government, that she didn't actually disagree with the principle of the Conservative motion. It called on the SNP to stick to a manifesto commitment to extend free school meals to all primary school children by 2026, but facing a £1 billion budget black hole, they've cut back on all P6 and P7s to just those on the Scottish Child Payment, saving £256 million a year.
Last week, John Swinney confirmed he was scrapping the SNP pledge to introduce universal free school meals for P6 and P7 pupils in this Parliament. Promise made, promise broken.
There's more than a whiff of hypocrisy here to have the Conservatives talking about ways that we can tackle child poverty. The single biggest driver of child poverty in modern British history is the Conservative Party.
The government have now promised but not delivered free school meals for every primary school pupil for 4 years. Whilst child poverty is stagnant on their watch, people across Scotland will be baffled at the choices they've made.
They've been fast and loose with the public finances in Scotland, making endless promises that they just simply cannot keep.
What £256 million of cuts will they make? Will they make it elsewhere in our schools? Additional support needs provision, the school clothing grant, the Scottish Attainment Challenge? Would they stop funding to the 8 new schools which are being built? Would it be cuts elsewhere? Would it be the NHS childcare, the Scottish Child Payment?
I think today the Scottish Government found itself into a similar position to the Labour Government yesterday. They're both committed to making unpopular savings that weren't in their manifestos, but there is a big difference. Labour has a stonking majority at Westminster, so it won the vote on cutting the winter fuel payment for pensioners yesterday. But the SNP here is in a minority government, so it lost. It's not a binding vote though, so politically it doesn't make any real difference.
All right, Colin, with the very latest from the Scottish Parliament, thank you.
There's still no deal to see Glasgow host the Commonwealth Games in 2026. Scotland's Sports Minister has told STV News the event is hanging in the balance. There is a dispute over funding with the UK Government, which says it's not prepared to underwrite the full cost. But the Scottish Government wants a guarantee before agreeing to stage the event again. Our reporter Vanessa Taff is at Glasgow Green for us now. So, Vanessa, what's the latest?
This is the latest political football between the Scottish and the UK Government over what's become a bit of a hosting saga. Now, the Scottish Government has asked that the UK Government fully underwrite the cost of putting on the Games, basically taking the risk out of the equation. Now, the UK Government is willing to spend more than £2 million by way of security, but they won't fully front the cost of bringing the Games back to Glasgow.
We understand the obvious benefit that there is to our sporting community of hosting the Commonwealth Games, but there is also a risk, both a reputational risk because we've seen a fantastic Commonwealth Games in 2014 of a different scale to what has been proposed here, and the potential financial risk. And that's why, given the circumstances that we're facing with the public purse, the discussions with the UK Government are so important, and those discussions will continue.
Now, Glasgow's been the only city in the running to host, and that's after Victoria in Australia pulled out because of the spiralling costs. Now, when the Games came here in 2014, they were deemed a relative success, and whoever hosts in 2026 will be given £100 million from the Australian Government. Now, when I've spoken to officials who are involved in the bid for Glasgow 2026, they've seemed confident that they can actually stage a Games that's scaled back, but that's financially responsible, so they'd make up the financial shortfall through ticket sales and sponsorships. The Scottish Government had said that they would put a deadline of Friday by the time they wanted a decision on this, but they've changed their tune a little bit, and it seems to be now as soon as possible, so no definite time frame from the government. Well, in the meantime, we'll be waiting to see who's the first to flash the cash.
Vanessa, thank you. Teachers have voted overwhelmingly in favour of accepting a 4.27% pay rise from Scotland's councils. EIS members accepted the offer, which union leaders describe as a first step in the restoration of pay to the equivalent of pre-austerity levels. Local authorities are urging other teaching unions to also back the deal.
The choice to be sober needs to be normalised if Scotland is to change its relationship with drink. That's according to organisations who say people choosing not to drink, particularly at social events, can be stigmatised.
In the last of his 3 special reports, Ollie Dickinson has been to a sober night out to hear from people in recovery who are choosing to ditch the booze.
It's a typical Saturday night in Blackfriars in Glasgow's Merchant City. The bar is busy with the weekend crowd, soaking up the music and a few pints. But downstairs, something quite different is about to kick off. On the face of it, this is just another Glasgow rave. But look beyond the neon, the glow sticks, the smoke and the music, and you'll begin to notice some subtle differences. The taps have been taped over, and the only cans being handed out are juice. Everyone here is sober.
A lot of people relate being out and having a good time to taking drink or drugs because that's been their history. And nights like tonight get them used to coming back out, enjoying themselves without that.
Freed Up is the brainchild of Donna Boyd. Having battled addiction, she's now sober and noticed a need for nights out where being off the booze is taken for granted and normalised.
My brain and my thinking was that was all the fun finished because I wasn't going to use alcohol or drugs anymore. From a young age I thought that you had to drink or take something to have a good time, and I think that's still the kind of way, and to hope to tackle it with young people. People have become more and more conscious about the ill effects of alcohol on their health, their mood.
Some of those here are in recovery, like Tommy.
I was an alcoholic for 36 years of my life. The reason I come to these is because there's no alcohol in them, so I know I'm not going to be putting myself in a situation where I'm going to be wanting to drink. At least people, when they come to these, you know, they're drink-free and it's only ginger.
Back downstairs and bringing the music are Joe and Kerry. Both are former addicts. Both work with Freed Up and their sober nights to ditch the drink.
This is massive, this sort of stuff, man. It's massive for me and my recovery. It shows me that I'm not the only person who's struggling or getting through here and being sober.
Being in a club with people that are clean and sober makes it easier. Having a safe space where everybody else is just like you, just want to enjoy the music, because we deserve to enjoy music.
But there is also a growing crowd who've given up the booze for health, social and religious reasons. Gillian helps organise the nights. After getting sober, she wanted to take the stigma away from choosing not to drink.
I was really isolated at the start, like I'm saying, like you feel like you're a bit younger than everybody else and you don't know what your normal is. It's such a culture thing that we need to break, and we need to break the stigma of what we are if we don't do it. Like, you still will get people be like, oh, you don't drink, like, why? Like, it's like asking somebody why they don't eat meat. It doesn't need to be a big thing.
Over the last 3 days, we've heard from people like Gillian, who are choosing sobriety, people in recovery, like Madeline, and experts in addiction services like Alison. Their messages are simple, clear and consistent. Failing to take radical action on Scotland's toxic relationship with alcohol isn't an option. Ollie Dickinson, STV News.
Young Scots are being urged to stop sharing violent footage on social media as part of a campaign to improve online safety. Quit Fighting for Likes aims to get them to discuss their attitudes towards the filming of fights on smartphones.
The project aims to make social media a safer place for young people. It follows an increase in the number of violent incidents in schools, which are often filmed and uploaded on different platforms. Our political correspondent Ewan Petrie reports.
Having helped develop this campaign video, these pupils at Craigmount High School in Edinburgh had their first viewing this morning.
I think it was really good how it's bringing awareness to how normalised hate online has been when it shouldn't be normalised at all.
It could make a good big difference to people's mentality and just changing, besides from saving the video and editing it and stuff and making it stupid.
I'd say that's in the middle.
Schools and youth groups will also have access to resources to get young people talking about making safer choices online.
This project is about making sure that social media is a safe place for young people. It's about making sure that they know and have the skills and the tools to make their social media feed a safe place, and they know that they don't need to share violent imagery or anything like that on their social media.
Research published last year found increasing incidents of violence in Scottish schools. Last month, the Scottish Government published its long-awaited action plan for tackling the worsening behaviour.
When do you think we will start to see results then and those figures coming down?
I'm hoping that we will see them soon.
How do you expect them to come down when no extra resources are being put in to tackle this issue?
Well, we have got £4 million being put into violence prevention over the next 3 years, so there are resources being put in, and we will continue to work to bring down the numbers.
Not enough, according to the EIS, though. They want to see more put into this.
Yes, well, at the moment we are doing what we can. We will still continue to work closely with our schools, with our students, and try and make progress.
While social media plays an increasing role in young people's lives, this aims to show how to switch off any harmful content. Ewan Petrie, STV News.
We'll have more on youth violence and gangs tomorrow evening in the news at 6 and on Scotland Tonight with a special report on the issue. You can see Growing Up with Gangs tomorrow here at 8:30 on STV. A man has been arrested after a body was found at a flat in Ayrshire. Police were called to the property on Montgomery Street in Ardrossan last night. The body of a 59-year-old man was discovered within the flat. A 24-year-old woman was also found injured outside and was taken to Crosshouse Hospital in Kilmarnock. A 40-year-old man has been arrested in connection with the incident. Glasgow's Gallery of Modern Art has been closed after a man fell from a balcony at lunchtime. The MoMA on Royal Exchange Square closed after the incident around 12:30. His condition is currently unreported. The gallery says it's due to reopen tomorrow morning as usual. A small number of confirmed cases of hepatitis A are being investigated in Cumbernauld. NHS Lanarkshire has confirmed 2 of the cases are children, one of whom attends a local school, the other a local nursery. Doctors are advising that staff and children who attend the same school and nursery should receive the hepatitis A vaccine to prevent the spreading of the contagious infection. A consultant microbiologist who worked at the Glasgow Hospital at the Centre of Infection Concerns has told an inquiry that known problems in a children's bone marrow transplant ward were not addressed for years because of a lack of a joined-up approach by management. Dr Christine Peters said she first noted issues at the Queen Elizabeth University campus in 2014 and was later told she would make things difficult for herself if she kept raising concerns. A campaign to save lifeline services for the most vulnerable babies in Lanarkshire has been taken to the Scottish Parliament. MSPs heard concerns about centralising neonatal units, which would involve downgrading one at University Hospital Wishaw and the impact it would have on patients and parents. Vidushi Tiwari reports.
More than 20,000 signatures objecting to plans that would centralise intensive neonatal care. Monica says the unit at University Hospital Wishaw saved her son's life.
He was born at 27 weeks. We spent many days and nights, sitting by Alfie's incubator, not knowing what the future was going to hold. And when I say that, I mean not knowing whether or not we would ever be taking Alfie home. And the staff at the unit became a family to us.
Over 5,000 babies born in Scotland are admitted to neonatal intensive care every year. The Scottish Government says the vast majority of cases will continue being treated locally, but that's little reassurance for some.
Kai's 3 in November and I still suffer from complex PTSD, not just because of Kai's journey, but because of my journey along with Kai. It gave me that sense of what these future families are going to be facing, especially if they're looking at staying in Aberdeen for extended periods of time.
MSPs debated the decision at length earlier today.
The data collected for that report on which these critical decisions are being made is frankly inconsistent.
So what we have is a proposal that is not only flawed, but has been built on very shaky foundations indeed.
The plans are set to go ahead, but with a second petition already lodged, plans for committee members to visit the unit and parents who don't shy away from fighting for their children, this issue won't be going away. Vidushi Tiwari, STV News.
Now Ronnie's here with Tonight Sport.
STV Sport, sponsored by the C.R. Smith Autumn Sale.
Good evening. The head of refereeing in Scotland, Willie Collum, says they're looking to improve transparency and the understanding of decision making after the SFA launched a new VAR review show. The monthly programme will examine decisions from across the top flight. Column confirmed refs got 2 major decisions wrong in the first 4 weeks of the season, including this one between Celtic and Kilmarnock on the opening weekend after the champions were denied a penalty.
The Celtic player clearly gets ahead, wins the ball, touches the ball past the goalkeeper, and we then think that the goalkeeper's actions are reckless. So for us, this should have been a penalty kick. An on-field review should have been requested, and the referee then asked to come to the monitor.
As the Premiership returns this weekend, Kilmarnock are a team looking to get their league campaign back on track. After 4 games, they find themselves bottom of the table. Elsewhere, with a week to go until Celtic get their Champions League campaign underway, one former Parkhead striker is hoping this can be the season Brendan Rodgers' men make an impact in the competition.
After their high-flying taste of European football, it's back down to earth for Derek McInnes and his players. Domestic matters now taking centre stage as the Ayrshire side look to rectify their league campaign. This last-minute Bruce Anderson penalty last time out, securing Killy's only point of the season so far. Despite sitting bottom, the team are confident that after this international break, they can get back up and running.
Tough going, obviously results have reflected that unfortunately, so now that the European adventure's out the way, we focus again on league duty and we knuckle down and hopefully start picking up points as soon as possible. This international break has definitely gave us a chance to get ourselves going again, so we've managed to get a good bit of training under our belt and then hopefully now a bit more structure to our working week, and that will help us going forward.
Meanwhile, one team who are still in the European hunt is Celtic. Brendan Rodgers continuing his side's preparations as they get set to welcome Slovan Bratislava in their Champions League opener next week. One former striker is expecting big things.
They're riding the crest of a wave at the minute, you know, they've got momentum, they've just had a really good window, and they've got some terrific players now. There's a great style, you know, a real good buzz around Celtic anyway. You know, the green and white side of the city. Champions League now to come as well. You know, 8 fantastic games. The crowd will be delighted with that because I can remember playing in the Champions League, and those nights are what you take away from being a Celtic player if you can manage to be successful.
Scottish Rugby have appointed Alex Williamson as their new chief executive 8 months after previous CEO Mark Dodson announced he was standing down. Williamson previously held executive positions with the Goodwood Group and House of Fraser. Meanwhile, the women's national team are back in action against Fiji on Saturday after last week's victory over Wales.
The girls did absolutely immense. Lucia and Leah, I can't compliment them enough. I thought they were absolutely fantastic. And as a team, just building that depth as well. And it's amazing to see people so young come into the squad, so able to just come on and perform straight away. It's a testament to the squad and it's a testament to the development we have going.
Finally, a Scottish teenager says his dream is to win the Super Bowl after securing a place in the NFL Academy. Jude Colvin is training with the American football sides after being spotted playing for a local team in their park in Edinburgh. Here's Jamie Borthwick.
The NFL Academy. We hold you.
It's the stepping stone from Europe to try and make the grade in American football. 17-year-old Jude Colvin has been recruited to the NFL Academy as he seeks the chance to fly the saltire in the United States.
So surreal to me, you know. I mean, if you told me like the beginning of this year that I got into the academy, I would be like, "You're crazy, man." So it's still very surreal to me, to be honest. Yeah, very happy.
After starting out in rugby, Colvin decided to try American football with the Napier Knights, based at Sighthill in Edinburgh, and he hasn't looked back. Going on to represent Scotland, Great Britain, and now taking his steps on the pathway to playing in the United States. The NFL Academy at Loughborough University prepares the players on and off the field to gain a place in American college teams. Colvin, a running back, now spends hours studying superstars like the San Francisco 49ers' Christian McCaffrey. He wants to go all the way to the top, starting by catching the eye of scouts across the Atlantic.
So hoping I get to that level, and hopefully from there, I get to obviously draft, get a team, and win a Super Bowl. So that's the dream for me, is just push myself to the limit and being uncomfortable, and just send that expectation for myself, being like, I can do it, even though I'm a guy from Scotland. I'm going to make sure that I get to that level just so that other people can look up to me, being like, this guy's from Scotland and he's made it to the NFL.
The hard yards lie ahead, but Jude Colvin's ready to do whatever it takes to realise his American dream. Jamie Borthwick, STV Sport.
And that's all your sport tonight.
STV Sport, sponsored by the C.R. Smith Autumn Sale.
Well, 1 minute was sunshine, next minute rain, certainly here in Edinburgh. Philip has the forecast.
Light winds rolling in from the west. We'll be joined by some very welcomed ice creams. TUI sponsors STV Weather.
Hello and a very good evening to you. Well, today I've been hearing lots of comments about how cold it is feeling today, and the main reason for that is we've got some quite strong winds, and those winds are originating from the Arctic, coming in on a northerly airflow. Tomorrow the winds will be turning lighter, and come Friday the wind direction changes to a southwesterly, so overall it will be feeling less cold as we approach the weekend. Back to just now, and as we head into this evening and overnight, very little change from what we've seen through the course of the day. Continuing to see frequent showers spreading in from the north, becoming confined mostly to western parts. They will be turning increasingly wintry through the second half of the night, particularly on the tops of the mountains. We could be seeing a dusting of snow, with temperatures dropping to lows of around 3 or 4 degrees Celsius for most towns and cities. Then looking ahead to tomorrow, a very similar day to come to what we've been seeing throughout the course of the day. Generally a mixture of sunny spells and scattered showers. The main differences are that we've got lighter winds and the showers will be less frequent, with temperatures reaching highs of around 12 or 13 degrees Celsius, and that is 6 degrees below average for the time of year. Then looking ahead to Friday, overall a drier day for much of the country, with some patchy cloud and sunny spells. And like I said, our winds are now coming in from the southwest, so it will be feeling slightly milder with highs of 14. Bye-bye.
TUI sponsors STV Weather.
And finally, Scotland's first alpine coaster opens this weekend. Riders travel almost 1 kilometre with views from the top of the Midlothian Snow Sports Centre.
A lucky few get early access to the mountain carts hurtling through the hills at nearly 30 miles per hour, including our reporter Lewis Mickey.
It's Scotland's first, and it's nearly ready. Bookings for the Hill End Alpine Coaster in Midlothian have opened today ahead of its full launch on Saturday. But a lucky few had a chance to sample its speed ahead of time.
It was awesome. Yeah, it was amazing. Yeah. Never done something like that before.
Yeah, so it was really fast, and I liked how you could control it.
And what did you think of the views?
It was pretty crazy. You can see Arthur's Seat and the Salisbury Crags.
Really, really good, and I can't wait to ride it again. It's a bit windy, but the views are amazing.
Next to the dry ski slope, there's no shortage of views from the top, and riders will be able to hit speeds of up to 28 miles per hour. Certainly not just for kids. The council leader had a go, or 5.
It's a fantastic ride. It's a real asset to Midlothian, and no matter whether you're an outdoor lover or you're looking for something family to do, it's a great experience.
Track length comes in around about 980 metres. You have rider control of the speed up to a point, so you can speed up or slow down using the brake levers.
And there was no way I was getting this close without having a go myself. Well, that was good fun. A little bit windy at the top, but well worth it for those incredible views. Lewis Mickey, STV News, Hill End.
And you know, John, I've been told that the more weight you carry, the faster you'll go.
Have you, Kellyanne? Why would you tell me that?
I'm just sharing, John. Just sharing.
Get out.